So now when I think about my childhood, it just makes me want to escape. There were times where I would just like run out the front door and run down the street and realize I have nowhere to go. So I'm Christina, I'm from Austin, Texas, and I'm still here at the age of 39. Of all the places to be a townie, it's a pretty good one. Well, basically, I haven't had much contact with my family, especially over the last couple of years, a little bit here and there. So it's mostly just me in an efficiency with one cat. I quit my previous job in December, and so I decided to take a break and get my head together. And I did get into a DBT program, that's dialectic behavioral therapy. I'd been at that for a few weeks, and now that's wrapped up, and so I'll be back to looking for a job very soon. So mostly growing up, I didn't really do too much with my family. Spent a lot of time alone, spent a lot of time on my bicycle, and a lot of time singing silly songs. Because the family dynamic, the family dynamic, it really wasn't a helpful or happy environment. It was pretty rough. My first actual memory of something really inappropriate happening was when I was 4. But from what my parents have told me, both of them, it started when I was 2. And my father even had an idea of what was going on. There's definitely a part of me that blames myself, but yeah, I was just 4. I was dancing in the living room in a frilly little dress and showing off my puff and the tulle, under the skirt. And my grandfather's brother, was inappropriate. And I shook my head no, because I knew it was wrong. I didn't even have the words for what was going on, but I knew it was wrong. I knew it made me uncomfortable. I shook my head no. And then I looked at my grandfather, who actually had just watched it happen. He was actually locking eyes with me. It was conjoined rooms, a living room and a kitchen, and my grandfather and father are just in the other room. And there's the doorway is open, and my grandfather can see everything. And he did absolutely nothing. And at one point when I was 10, my mother's boyfriend actually started beating me up because literally because I walked into her bedroom. The door was open, I walked in and sat on the bed to talk to her. Next thing I know, he's shoved me onto the bed, hands on the throat, literally threatening my life. And my mother just sits there and cries for a second, and then she ends up comforting him. There were times where I would just like run out the front door and run down the street and realize I have nowhere to go. And due to health issues, I wouldn't survive on the streets for very long. So even though nobody gave a shit, I thought I was better off at home. So now when I think about my childhood, it just makes me want to escape. So definitely I've had issues with drugs and alcohol, used relationships to escape, and none of it has really worked or helped. I became a person who accepted abuse from my family, from partners. I know other women that have had struggles where they were physically assaulted, sexually assaulted, even as young as 5 and 6. And the one thing that separates them from me, why they were able to have more successful relationships, more successful jobs and career paths, each one of them was able to say, well, thank God for my grandpa, thank God for my aunt. Like they had one consistent adult in their life that actually showed them a positive path. And I didn't have an aunt or uncle, none of my grandparents, neither of my parents. I had nowhere to go to for any kind of support or guidance. I had to figure it out all on my own. And so yeah, I would change pretty much everything about the first 20 years of my life. What I really want to say is that if every child has at least one adult in their life that gives them a glimpse into safety and kindness, and they do it consistently, that would mean a lot. It doesn't make up for the damage, but it does give the child a very clear picture of what is possible in the future, despite what they've experienced.